Hi, in this video we'll take a look at another example of solving the equation by completing the square. Our equation is x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. Let's take a look at this example. Here is our equation. First thing we want to do is make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. The number in front of x squared must be 1. If there is no number in front of x squared, that means it is 1. We just don't write it. Second thing we want to do is move the constant to the other side. So move the number without the variable x to the other side. In this case, it is 1. We can go ahead and subtract 1 on both sides. And we get this, x squared plus 6x equals negative 1. Now, in order to complete this square, we'll take the number in front of x, in our case 6. We'll divide it by 2 and then we'll square it. So always take the number in front of x, divide it by 2 and then square it. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. What are we going to do with that 9? We're going to rewrite the equation from this line here, x squared plus 6x equals negative 1. But notice I put plus an empty space on the left and plus an empty space on the right. And that is where we're going to put that 9. We're going to put it here and also here. Whatever change we make to the left-hand side, we must do the same to the right-hand side because of the equal sign. Now we can go ahead and factor the left-hand side. How do we factor the left-hand side? We're looking for two factors of 9 that will sum up to positive 6. This means we are looking for two numbers. When multiplied together will give us 9, but when added together we should get positive 6. And those numbers are positive 3 and positive 3. 3 times 3 is 9 and 3 plus 3 is positive 6. So how do we factor the left-hand side? The following way. X plus 3 times x plus 3. On the right-hand side, all we're going to do is add these together. Negative 1 plus 9. So now we get this line here. X plus 3 squared, because x plus 3 times x plus 3 is the same thing as x plus 3 squared. On the right-hand side, we get 8. And now we want to solve for x. Notice we have a square here on the left-hand side. We want to get rid of it. So what we're going to do is take the square root of both sides. Why are we taking square root of both sides? Notice there's no number here, which means the number is 2. We just don't write it. So now this 2 matches this 2 here. And when simplified, all we get is x plus 3 on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have square root of 8. And in front of it, we have plus or minus. Why do we put that plus or minus there? Well, let's take a look at a simple example. Let's say we have x squared equals 25, which says what number squared gives us 25? Well, 5 squared equals 25, but also negative 5 squared also equals 25, because negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. So that is the reason for plus or minus in front of square root of 8. Now let's continue with simplifying. On the left-hand side, we just get x plus 3. Now the next thing we want to simplify, if we can, is square root of 8. So let's take a look at square root of 8. Notice that 8, we can write it as 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. And now we can separate them as radical 4 times radical 2. We can do that because we have a multiplication between 4 and 2. If we had plus or minus, here we wouldn't be able to do that. So because we have multiplication, we can separate them into radical 4 times radical 2. We know that square root of 4 equals 2. So instead of square root of 4, we're going to write 2 times radical 2. That means square root of 8 simplifies to 2 radical 2. So now we'll replace radical 8 with 2 radical 2 in our next step. So because of the plus or minus on the right-hand side, we'll separate it into two equations. One with positive 2 radical 2 and one with negative 2 radical 2. And now we can go ahead and solve for x by moving the 3 to the other side by subtracting 3 on both sides. We'll subtract 3 on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, and we'll do the same thing with this equation. So we'll get the following. X equals to 2 radical 2 minus 3, and x equals to negative 2 radical 2 minus 3. And those are the answers. Don't forget to subscribe for more.